right, so I just got home. There is no bigger news for this channel at all than a new camera. And yes, we do have a new camera. Yeah. Ooh, people. Battery. New camera. And the camera is the R6 Mark II. Super excited about this. Oh, yeah. What? Look how thin the manual is. This is actually quite surprising. The one for the R5 is like that thick, like Bible thick. That's very reasonable. And of course you get a battery with it, and you get the charger. You get the, collectible R6 strap. But you know what, people? Here's what it's all about. These are just, these moments. You hear the little, listen, that little sound. And there's something about that first time that you actually get to touch a camera. Here we go. R6 Mark II. Wow. There it is. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Back at it again. R6 Mark II. It's just something about these cameras. It's like the first time that I'm holding it in my hand, I know I made the right decision. So I had to capture this moment of joy because this is a huge deal for me. There are two reasons why I needed another camera. The first one is pretty simple, and that is just for anxiety's sake. And that is just knowing that if something happens to your A camera, you have a B camera to finish the job. Now, the real reason why I needed a second camera is because I am an event photographer as well. And at an event, I found that I just love having the option of having two cameras. What I really like to do is to have a 50mm on one camera and a 70-200 on another camera. So that way I can switch in between the two if I need to get something that's close or something that is at a distance. Necessity, right? So you don't miss shots. That's what it comes down to. So I actually ended up selling my B cam, which was my 5D Mark III, but it left me with one main camera, which is my R5. I did a whole lot of lens swapping at the last event I did. I was switching from the 15-35 to the 50 to the 70-200, and it just was too much. I felt like it couldn't be good for the camera or the lens to be swapping the lenses out so often. And I was just thinking at that moment, I've got to get a second camera. So I had the R5, I needed a good B camera, and I finally made the decision on the R6 Mark II, baby, Mark II. So my next question was, I need a second camera, but what's my second camera going to be? I actually have a Fujifilm camera, XS10, that just is not reliable enough to be my second camera, and it's just weird going from one system to another at the same event. So I went through the thought process of, first of all, I looked at the R7, but it just wasn't the one for me. I felt like it just wasn't it. And then it had this little dial thing at the top, which looked kind of interesting, but it looked really different from what I had on the R5. So that muscle memory thing when you're switching cameras is really important, because the last thing you want to be doing at a shoot is thinking. You just want to be, shooting. We spend all this time preparing. When the shoot comes around, you really just want to be able to do what you need to do. Next was the R8. I'm like, here we go, baby. This is the one. This is the one. But there are a few things that made me change my mind about the R8 and made me consider the R6 Mark II. One was, let's open this up, 2 card slots. Why is that important for me? First of all, I've got to say this. On a Canon camera, I have never had a card fail. I use these SanDisk cards here. I've never had one of these fail in a Canon camera, not one time. So it's something that you want to have. It's great to have a backup, but the main reason is to back it up from myself. I do something called deleting parties. And that's when I finish a shoot. What I like to do is I like to go through and delete pictures where, you know, people's eyes are closed, or maybe, you know, I've caught them at a bad moment. I like to delete all those types of pictures before I upload them to my computer and put them in Lightroom and start really culling. So I do a pre-cull, I call it a deleting party. And what I have done a couple of times is I've deleted pictures that I should not have deleted. However, because I've had 2 card slots in my pro cameras, I've never had to worry about it, because I know if I do mess up, I can always go back to the other card and just get the picture that I may have deleted by accident and load it from there. So I need 2 slots to save me from me. The next thing is IBIS. 2 reasons why IBIS has been very helpful for me. One is, as photographers, we walk a fine line with our portrait shooting. We like to shoot at the golden hour. And sometimes you get carried away and time gets away from you and you start losing that ambient lighting. And when you lose that ambient lighting, you know what you gotta do? You gotta, you know, slow down your shutter speed so you can get more light into the camera. So that's one reason why I need IBIS. Another one is, at events, sometimes I like to shoot the room. And when I like to shoot the room at events, a lot of times it's not very well lit. And when I'm shooting a room, I'm shooting it like f8 or f11. IBIS actually gives you what you need to drop that shutter speed down so you can shoot at those higher apertures like f8 and f11, and you can get beautiful shots. So those 2 things to me was worth the upgrade from the R8 to the R6 Mark II. The third and final reason why I chose the R6 Mark II over the R8 is this right here. Can you see what's going on here? Can you see this? This is huge. This, and this. So on my R5, it has the exact same setup. So I have shutter speed, ISO, aperture on the wheel here. And at any moment I can change any of these 3 to get what I need. Probably the most common one is I have ISO right here, which I can set. You hear that? ISO, shutter speed, aperture. The exact same setup is on the R5. And what I have found when I was shooting my 5D Mark III as my B camera, muscle memory was gone, and I actually had to think about changes I would make on the camera because the setup was a little bit different. The setup of having your shutter speed, ISO, and your aperture, the exposure triangle, readily here for you to change at any given moment, to me is worth either getting an R6 or R6 Mark II or another R5. Of course, we know the price difference between the R6 Mark II and the R5. So I wanted this setup again. I wanted to have it. And with the R8, I would not have had this wheel. I want this wheel. I need this wheel. I need it to be right here for me. And with the R6 Mark II, ergonomics is, how I could sum it up, is why I made the choice. Now, just holding the R6 Mark II, one thing I can say, it is a little bit different from the R5. I just got it, just opened it up, so I really can't articulate what it is. One thing I can say is the R5 has more of this little spongy, nice, cushy material over here. And the first time I touched the R5, I almost passed out because it felt so good in my hands. Which probably messed me up from other cameras, because this actually is ergonomically, it feels really good in the hands, but I can just tell you already, it's not quite the R5, because that little piece right there, in another one of my videos, I discussed how you know, when you're holding a camera, the way I hold it anyway, it rests here on your hand. And on the R5, this part is covered up with that little, you know, spongy, grippy material. But here it is just, you know, that regular material that's over the rest of the body. No grippy, spongy things right there, which made a difference for me in an R5. But I can live without that. But really, having a body that is comparable to the R5 is going to make my life easier. And at events, it's going to allow me to shoot faster using muscle memory, and I can think about the shot composition without really thinking about where's my. No, when you're shooting, you don't want to be going through where's the. No, you want it to be automatic. You want it to be automatic. That's what you want. You want autonomy. You want autonomy when you are doing this. So, very similar. There's no screen on the top like I'm used to with my R5, but honestly, I never use it. I like having a screen up here. I like having that screen that I never use, but you know what? I can live with this dial here, and actually with me, it's not gonna leave manual anyway. That's where I shoot 100% of the time, so I can pretty much just set that and forget that. But I do like the addition of this because, you know, it is kind of weird on the R5. You gotta push the button and then push info to switch from video to photo. That's it. Look, if you didn't know what you were doing with that camera, you would be so confused. But this little switch here, that is fantastic to switch from video to photography, just like that. And I do like the on and off switch right here. I think that's fantastic because I do like to cut my camera on and off quite a bit. So I just cut it off when I need to cut it on. Look, I like this already. Ooh, I like that. Look at that. I like that. Ready to shoot? What? Yeah. Done. Take it down. Ready to shoot? Yep. So I do like that just from my initial impressions. But other than that, everything really does look like the R5. Quick benefit of the R6 Mark II already to getting the R8. The R8 has a smaller battery. I just wanted to cut the camera on real fast, and I popped in the battery and it was not, you know, sometimes the batteries have a little bit of charge. It had no charge at all, but it's fine because I have a whole bunch of these batteries just lying around. So, you know, I'm in good shape. The LP E6NH, I have a bunch of those, so I can definitely see the benefit. And then one came with the camera, then I bought another one. So now I'm gonna have those batteries all over the place, which is definitely an added benefit. So with all those things said, look, whatever you're shooting, I hope that you're using it, and I hope that you're enjoying it. I know I'm going to enjoy shooting this and playing around with the R6 Mark II. So YouTube, until next time, peace.